Hello, I'm Tyra, and you are joining me here on The Takeaway. Now, if you haven't watched me before, what I do is I have one guest and I ask them one question. And we try to keep it within that 10-minute mark. It doesn't always happen, but we want to get it short and sweet so that we can have a takeaway on what they're answering us. So let's begin. So welcome, Peter Surur. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, Tyra.
Good, good. Well, I'm going to jump right in because with the takeaway, I have the one guest and the one question, and we try to make it very short and sweet. We try to stay in 10 minutes, but, sometimes we go over. But something that I wanted to discuss with you is ONPASSIVE is a very humanitarian company, and we know it's coming straight from our CEO, Ash Mufareh. Now, I know that you had a great meeting with him, and you spent quite a few hours with him sitting and discussing things. Now, tell us the humanitarian side of Ash Mufareh that you saw. Go ahead, you got the mic.
Thank you, Tyra. Again, it's my pleasure to be here with you. Yes, one of the things that Ash, you can see it in his heart, how he feels about every single person in the world, no matter what color, what religion, where you're from, it doesn't matter. He cares about every single person out there. One of the things that I joined back to ONPASSIVE back in August 2018, and back then he kind of shared his personal phone number with us. So I saved it in my phone, and I've never really paid attention to it. I kind of like had it, and I never used it. And so one time we were in international webinars, and he heard me talking about how I want to help the homeless people in Michigan.
Right.
2 hours after the webinar, my phone rang, and I'm looking at it. It says Ash. So I know he was him. So I pick it up, and it's Ash, and it's like, wow. And first I was like astonished, that he called me. I'm like, who am I? It's just a random person. And he asked me about my passion about helping the homeless people in Michigan. And he wanted to know why I feel that way. He told me how he feels about every person in the world deserve to have a home. Every person in the world deserve to have a clean meal to provide for his children, and his family. And he cared very much about how I felt and how he wanted to help. So he wanted to kind of like pick my mind about it. And then he kind of invited me to Florida to, he says, if you ever come down here, let's come on here and put our minds together. I told him, well, it's funny that you mentioned that because I'm going to be in Florida next week. And that was, I think he called on March 18th, 2021. Okay. And we decided to meet together on March 25th. So the week after.
Okay.
And so I go to the office, right? And the first thing is the guy is a big heart, like I mentioned. As soon as he saw me, he just gave me a hug, big heart, not only smart, just amazing. But anyway, so we discussed a lot of things. One of the things about the homeless people in Michigan. And he says, as you know, one of the first products that he launched is Oh Bless.
Yes.
So he didn't even want to wait for Oh Bless to officially launch with ONPASSIVE. He wanted to do it like now, As a matter of fact, let me go with the meeting first. He wanted to know like the numbers of homeless people in Michigan, He want to break it down to male and female, family with children. And then I've talked about like a lot of the homeless people in Michigan, at least from my observation, are veterans, you know,
Right.
and we wanted to help the veterans as well.
Right.
It's not fair that they go risk their life for our country and come back and have nothing and be homeless.
Yeah.
So we kind of gathered our thoughts and we wanted to collect some data. So we kind of left it at that. Obviously, the conversation, we were like, he had to go to a meeting, and the meeting would never happen because he stayed with me the whole time. And we ended up spending about 7 hours total together. It was this amazing time. It felt like a half hour to me. But once I got home, I got collected some data. And then actually I talked to Chris Johnson as well, which he's one of my downline. And he agreed that he wanted to help as well. My upline too, he wanted to help. Well, all three of us in Michigan here. So that kind of help out.
Right.
And we collected some data and we sent it to Ash. We told him we broke it down, and then he called us just about 2.5 weeks ago.
Okay.
He called me, and I wasn't on the leadership council yet, so he asked me to be on the leadership councils. I kind of like, you know, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not looking for title or anything like this. I told him, but to be honest with you, Chris deserved it. So he told me, well, get him on the phone. So we got on the phone and got Chris, and he told Chris, he says, Peter says, if you're not going to go on a leadership council, he's not going to go. So you need to be on a leadership council. So we end up, short story, we end up both of us on leadership council. But one of the things that he also talked to us about, again, regardless of the homeless people in Michigan, he wanted to take this program internationally. He says, we want to have Michigan as a test ground for the homeless people in the world.
Yeah.
And once we are successful and we manage this very well, we're gonna just take it worldwide and help out all the homeless people in Michigan. And he says, we're not gonna wait till ONPASSIVE launches. He says, we wanna do this soon. He says, I want to, it's very possible for me to come to Michigan, to you guys, and plan this physically, like put our head together and spend some time and put it all together. That's how Ash Hart is, you know, that's how he feels, how he's passionate about every single person out there. I don't know if I answer your questions, but yeah, he's just, like I said, like not just a smart guy. We have all this 650,000 people now in the company, but he also cares about the people that are less fortunate as well.
Wow. Wow. Oh, guys, if you're listening to this, share the heck out of this video, because really, Peter just gave us a takeaway like none other, because we just got to see the heart of our CEO, Ash Mufareh. And I'm choking up. Like, it's just amazing when you come across a person of that kind of, I don't want to use the word maybe caliber, but as you've been saying, heart, you know. So wow, this is wonderful. You know, I am so thankful for what you shared with us. And just something I've said about this show is I want to give a glimpse into the inside of ONPASSIVE and the founders, you know, and to be able to see this and what Ash Mufareh is like. I mean, you can't possibly pretend to be that kind of person.
Right. He's just an amazing person. I could not say enough about him. He's just incredible, amazing person. You spend time with him, and the time just goes and goes and goes. And it's like you don't feel the time at all. And his family, you know, he's talk about his family all the time. I know about his two boys, amazing, very smart, just like him.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? And I'm sure the kind of hearts those kids are going to grow up having. Peter, thank you so much for taking the time today. This has been just so enlightening. We really appreciate you coming by.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure to be here with you, Tyra.
Wonderful. Well, thanks again, Peter. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much.